You're watching The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales, streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
So I was talking to the producers of the show, and I was telling them that we should do an entire episode in song. You know, I'll get a co-host and we'll do it, but not just any song. We'll do it in the style of Jim Steinman, you know, the guy that wrote all of Meatloaf's music. So we'll have that back and forth and the big power ballads and stuff like that. And we'll just do the entire show that way. And they told me no. They told me that a couple things. One is that we could actually get sued by Jim Steinman's estate. And the second thing is they told me I can't sing. So today we're just going to be talking it through. Stay tuned for the Dan Wickline Show. Some good song ideas for the thing too, like objects in the background aren't always Easter eggs, and what was the other one? I would do anything for variants, but I won't do that, of course. But yeah, and I would do anything for comics. I'd run through the store and back. I would. Nice, very quick, Ed. By the way, hello to Ed, to Triple B, to Cool. Good to see you guys. Triple B, hands 10 and 2, keep that driving straight. So, how are you all doing today? It is Thursday, May 25th. This is the, 50th anniversary of the dates, 51st anniversary of when Star Wars was released. No, it's like something like, it's this date in 1977, so let's see, that would be 43, 46. 46th anniversary. I don't know. It's just been a long time since Star Wars came out, but it really did affect so many of us, you know. So, but yeah, that's Star Wars anniversary day today. We've got all the interesting stuff going on in the comic industry. I somehow Marvel has made a deal with 46 years. Thank you, Jeff. My math is a little screwy today. We got the stuff going on with Marvel and Hasbro, where we're going to actually finally get collections of the Rom the Space Knight comics and the Micronauts. Now, I'm relatively excited for Rom, but I'm very excited for Micronauts because I am a huge Michael Golden fan. I absolutely love Michael Golden's artwork, and I love Michael Golden himself. The one nice thing about being a comic writer and being, you know, tangentially in the industry or in the industry as much as I am, is that I've had a chance to meet a lot of the people that I grew up reading and admiring. And Michael is one of the people that I have actually had the opportunity to not only meet, but get to know. I've been out to dinner with him a handful of times, driven them around a bit, him and his agent and former editor from Marvel, Renee Witterstatter. But Michael is just such a sweet guy. And one of my favorite conversations with him had nothing to do, most of my conversations with him have nothing to do with comics, which is kind of funny. But there was a night that he and I got Mexican food in San Jose, and he spent the entire conversation or the entire dinner trying to convince me that chocolate is part of a dinner and not just dessert. The whole mole idea, which to me was completely foreign. I have since tried it, and yeah, he's right. But the idea of mole chocolate chicken just sounded horrible to me. And then another conversation we had in LA, we were at a Taiwanese restaurant, a Thai restaurant, and they had this big screen on the side wall, and they were playing Woodstock, and they were playing the actual Jimi Hendrix part. And I'm an amateur musician. I play bass. I have an understanding of music and stuff. Michael has a really good understanding. So we sat there talking like crazy about what it was Hendrix was doing, and just had this great musical conversation with him. So yeah, I've never actually talked to him about comics, which is fascinating, but I love his work, and I can't wait to see those old Micronauts books reprinted. JD says originally chocolate was a spicy beverage, sort of like Aztec energy drink. Yeah, I know that Mexican hot chocolate is very different, so I could see that. This, by the way, is actually a mocha. I don't particularly like coffee. You'll notice in every book I write, if a character is drinking something, it's not coffee. They tend to hate coffee. All my characters drink tea, or if they're drinking alcohol, they drink scotch, because that's what I drink. But every once in a while, I can handle the coffee if you put a scoop of hot chocolate mix into it and creamer. So that's what this is. It doesn't have scotch in it, but it was possible because I got a bottle right down there. So, all right, let's get to the news. I'm kind of wandering all over the place today, but let's get to the news. There's not a lot of news today. I actually struggled to come up with a handful of stories, but the ones I got are pretty cool. There's only 3 of them. There was a actor roundtable that for it's a weird thing. I love the taste of coffee black, but I have yet to find a kind of tea I enjoy. You and I should talk off. There's a couple English teas that I think are phenomenal. Nambari, PG Tips. I mean, just stay away from the American stuff. You know, PG Tips is pretty good. Nambari is really good. The one I use a lot right now is Typhoo, Typhoo, and they all kind of have a caramely flavor to them, and they're very good. Green tea unsweetened. I'm okay with green tea. I actually have like an allergic reaction to it sometimes. So I'm good with the ones they do at the Chinese restaurants, but green tea by itself, anytime I bought it, I just haven't had a good time. The only tea I drink is Long Island iced tea, and love a strong black coffee. All right. I get you on that one. Long Island iced teas are pretty good. So, all right. So there was a round table of actors that included Pedro Pascal from The Mandalorian, Kieran Culkin from Succession, and Jeff Bridges from The Old Man. And they were asking Pedro Pascal about how much time he actually spends in the costume, in the armor on The Mandalorian, because that's been that's been kind of a topic. Is, you know, we know that Lateef Crowder and Brandon Wayne are getting bigger credits and stuff right now. So how much is it him just doing voiceover, and how much is him physically there? And you know, they said that has calmed down, and he agreed. He said, correct. For a lot of it, yeah, it's somebody else in the costume. Which Kieran was a little disappointed, saying that he kind of assumed that it was not only the voice, but the physical acting was also Pascal. And, you know, Din Djarin jokingly told him that the other guys in the suits are much better at it than he is. But he did reveal that he initially tried to be in the suit as much as possible, but his body wasn't up for the task. He said, there was an extended amount of experimentation being in the suit for a lot of it. And frankly, my body wasn't up for the task as far as like the 4 months of it. But I was in it. I was in it a significant amount, an elastic amount. He pretended to tug his shirt from his neck where the suit would chafe. Now, the actor went on to say that he figured it out when he was in, which has in turn helped him not only be able to put less physical stress on himself, but also get after more acting gigs. He says, but now we figured it out, which is super cool, and amazingly it gave me the opportunity to be able to go and do something else. Culkin then asked Pascal if the actor in the suits ever made movements or do things that he doesn't agree with, but Pascal said he thinks it's great. He then added into the comment saying that if he's going to give up the physical side of the role, let someone else take over, he has to let it go. He can't. Yeah, no, he says, no, I don't. I think that there are things that you have to let go in terms of what can be an OCD level of attention to detail. But, and Jeff Bridges jumped in there basically saying that as an actor, you're part of a collage. And, Pascal agreed with this. He says, yeah, exactly. But even so, much as wanting your component of that to fit perfectly into the collage, you really have to give up some of that control. So the rumors that Pascal wasn't in the costume that much, I think at all in season 3, which could be interesting for when it comes time to pay him, because at that point he's just a voice actor if he's never in the suit. So be interesting to see how that progresses going forward. Another bit of, that somebody puts there. I was thinking it would have been a rough shoot schedule to do Mandalorian and Last of Us at the same time. Exactly. So, and this will keep him as the Mandalorian longer if he's mainly just doing the voice. Lateef Crowder and Brendan Wayne are great guys. They've been at cons, and but they're not the big draw. Pedro Pascal is, so they're going to hang out, and then he's going to do the voices, and it's going to continue to be a successful show. All right, moving over to the movies. Universal's Fast and Furious franchise has reached a new milestone, spinning past 7 billion at the global box office. It has become the 5th series of films to pass that mark, doing it with only 11 titles. It's currently the number 5 franchise of all time and is tied with Warner Brothers' Wizarding World of Harry Potter for the fewest number of movies to get to 7 billion in the top 5. Now, over the long course of the Toretto family saga, which began back in 2001, can you believe that? There has mostly been steady growth, particularly from 2009 through to the changeable pandemic era. The split of all 11 movies, which includes Hobbs and Shaw, the one that Vin doesn't appear in, is basically 1.946 billion domestic. So 5.083 billion overseas for a total of 7.3 worldwide. And if you're curious how that breaks down per movie, Fast and the Furious made 208 million. Too Fast, Too Furious, 236 million. Then Tokyo Drift dropped down to 158. Fast and the Furious, just called Fast and Furious, was 363 million. Fast 5 jumped to 630 million. Furious 7 was 1.5 billion. Is that right? Well, no, it's 15 million. So yeah, 1.5 billion. The Fate of the Furious, 1.2 billion. Then Fast and the Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw was 766 million. Fast 9, 728 million. And now Fast X is already at 388 million. That's pretty good for a franchise that started off as just being about street racers, and now it's about defying all sense of logic. That's what I say, that the franchise didn't start until 5, everything to this extreme, but it did change. And let's not forget that at one point, Jason went to space. Is Dan locked up, or is it me? I don't think I'm locked up. Look, I'm moving. Yay! Yeah, that's going to end up being one of those clips that JD takes out of the show. All right, let's see. I got one more bit of news here. And this has to do with Spider-Man. While speaking with The Hollywood Reporter, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse directors Chris Miller and Phil Lord revealed the Amazon live-action Spider-Man series that they are involved in were put on hold due to the WGA strike. Lord mentioned that the development has stopped on both Silk Spider Society and Spider-Man Noir, with writer rooms being shut down until a deal is in place for the writers. Now, this suite of live-action television series based on Sony's universe of Marvel characters looks to be completely separate from the Sony big screen Spider-Man universe, with Lord and Miller set to executive produce and oversee everything. So I'm wondering if these actually tie into the animated series, the animated movies, the Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse, rather than the Venom movies and Morbius. Morbius is the bloodsucker. Mobius is the time cop. Got it. All right. Okay, that is the news. That's all I got news-wise. So let us take a break, and then we're going to come back and talk about our Jack of Hearts pitch and why we might need to make a change. So be right back.
Why was Princess Zelda sad after watching a bunch of YouTube videos? She couldn't find a link in the description. We'll stop if you subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's super easy. Click subscribe and click the bell when you do. And thanks for supporting the EXP.
Comic Collectibles is a pretty straightforward show. You got Rex here, he sells the comics, and you got Rockin' Robbie, he knows about the comics. And finally, John, well, no one really knows what John does. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a great guy, but he just keeps showing up. Come to think of it, I don't even really know how he gets in here. Anyway, awesome comics, rare books, rarer signatures, slabbed books, and amazing cover sketches by Ken Hazer and others. Simple formula, you want the comics, you buy the comics. To sum up, Rex sells the comics, Robbie knows the comics, and John, who might possibly be a ghost. I mean, seriously, has anyone ever seen him show up or leave? Comic Collectibles with Rex and John, Mondays from 6 to 8 Eastern on The Experience. Comic Culture and Sales. Imagine being at a convention and going to an interview panel that's just for you. No bustling crowds, no hours-long lines, just you, the moderator, and your favorite comic book creators. Well, this is pretty much that. Miss Jen sits down every week with 2 comic book creators for a live stream interview about their latest work, and you can ask them whatever you want. It's Talking Shop, Mondays at 5 Eastern on The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales.
Programming on the EXP is made possible by viewers like you, or your local comic shop, or that Kickstarter you backed, or the publisher you like, or comic industry professionals who want to share a message with the world. Really, anyone who wants to advertise with us can. If you're interested in seeing a product you know and love, or are creating, or are publishing, or are involved with, advertised here on The Experience, and having your message shared with our viewers, please reach out by scanning the QR code below or visiting our website and using the contact form.
Welcome back, everybody. I see Ed is trying to pun us all to death, which is well done. Well done indeed. If we have to shuffle our story a bit, we can deal with it. As long as nothing trumps the plot we have in hand, we can play through. Very nicely done, Ed. I like it. So, all right. There was one other thing that popped up, and it wasn't really news, more of a rumor floating around. But I think this is kind of a duh type of rumor, which is reporting that the Superman Legacy will not be self-contained. Guess that's a good way to put it. What they're saying is that they're going to establish early on that there is a DC universe. So even though it starts there, it's going to be, there'll be little nods and Easter eggs and comments acknowledging the existence of other heroes and other things going on. So that's the rumor right now. And I think that's 100% true. I think they know they're building a cohesive universe, and that's the plan. Now, Marvel didn't necessarily do that in the beginning because Marvel didn't know if it was any of it was going to work. There's this great interview Marvel released on YouTube celebrating the 15th anniversary of Iron Man 1. And it's a conversation between Kevin Feige and Jon Favreau. And it's just the two of them talking. It's about a 15-minute conversation. They're talking about their thoughts and stuff in the beginning, why Favreau signed on, what made them go after Favreau, the decision to get Robert Downey Jr. on there. I guess it recently came out that they had actually been talking to RDJ prior to Iron Man about possibly playing Doctor Doom in the Fantastic Four movies, the Tim Story ones. So that would have been really interesting to see him play Doom opposite of Ian Goffard and Chris Evans. So it would have been interesting, the fact that he and Chris Evans would be together in the Fantastic Four movies. But all right, who else have popped in? Lyle's popped in. Lucia's popped in. Good to see both of you. All right, we are going to talk about our Jack of Hearts pitch. Now, we have got a great story going here. I really like it. I think it's strong. It's very self-contained. We cover the origin. We establish. We've got the secondary villains that the Slaughter Squad, who we can have them do the whole thing about. One of them is a Skrull. So having him sneak into the poker game, we established the look of the character based on his dad's obsession with medieval arms and poker, and that he's done up some costumes to look like playing cards or some armors and stuff. We have all the pieces in place. I think really, really a good job. So it's just a matter, I've got to sit there and write the one page. Then this new rumor came out. And it's not a huge rumor. So without verification, we could completely ignore it. Or we could protect ourselves by making a change. And the rumor is that the Fantastic Four plan on going to Galactus in the second movie. So, they're going to introduce some of the stuff early, but they're not going to have like the Silver Surfer in the first movie. What they're talking about is having a different Herald of Galactus as the main bad guy in the first movie, and then introducing Silver Surfer possibly in a standalone special or, as part of the second movie, and then having them actually face off with Galactus in the second movie as kind of the buildup. Hey, we heard about this guy coming. Oh my God, he's here. Well, the talk is that the first movie's bad guy would then be Terrax the Tamer. Yes, one of Galactus's heralds. Now, that affects us because that was going to be our bad guy. That was going to be the guy we were going to use as our main villain and the guy in the shadows until the end, and we had really great reason to use him. He's got the powers over Earth or ground geo powers. And then we're going to say, okay, well, maybe there's something about the planet that of Contraxia that if it gets wiped out if everybody on it gets wiped out, he can just mine it. So we still have the possibility of whoever the bad guy is looking to have Contraxia destroyed so that they can just mine all the minerals, mine all the resources off the planet without anybody standing in their way. Problem is, we don't have a bad guy if we don't use Tamer, Terax the Tamer. So what do we do? Do we switch to another villain? Or do we go to another alien race that could be waiting, a feuding planet? Or do we stick with Terax, just go full speed ahead with the idea that the odds of us actually getting this to Marvel and picked up are pretty damn low. Morg or Tyrant? Interesting. Use the Sun King. Okay, Sun King is a neat idea too, because the Sun King is from the Jack of Hearts past. Morg or Tyrant would give us another one of Galactus's heralds. All right, let's think about Sun King first. Let's see, Marvel Sun King. Now, see, the Sun King became Patient 86. Are you referring to the one from the Marvel database from Moon Knight? What was... Is it Sun King? No, there was something like that. I remember that it kind of fits the Dead Sun plot. Okay. But I know that there was a character introduced early in the Jack of Hearts comics, or involved with the Jack of Hearts stories, was also, I think, named Sun King. And then it's a title that ended up going to Star-Lord later on. I'm not a member of the WGA, so I can do this. So, by the way, if the WGA wants me, I only have one television credit, so I don't think that's quite enough yet. Huh. See, now I'm kind of stuck on who the character Jack of Hearts. Let's see if I can narrow this down. Jack of Hearts. Jack of Hearts powers and enemies. Didn't know he had a big enough thing for to have enemies. Stranger Presence, Starlight, Silver Surfer, Ganymede, Avengers, and Scarlet Witch. See, a lot of his villains are pretty big. Terax and Morg would both fall in that category. An alien woman named Ganymede. Not familiar with Ganymede. Let's see. Tyrant is another one. So those Morg and Tyrant are good possibilities. Kismet. Anybody remember Kismet? Huh. Oh, wasn't Kismet like the female version of Adam Warlock? What was Ganymede? See, I still like Terrax. That's the problem. Terrax is really cool. Yeah, Nebula had her run with him. The problem is that Nebula is already kind of taken in the MCU. And we don't necessarily want to put something out that absolutely is zero chance of working. Isis. I don't know if Marvel's ever used Isis. That's interesting. The goddess might work, and that brings a female into a major role. Yeah, not much has been done with her backstory. True. But they've kind of made her a good guy at this point, Nebula, so that would be tough. What about Gator, Nebula's second in command, putting his own plans in place after the fall of Thanos' army? Now see, that's interesting. I like that. That's pretty good. Gator. Gator was a powerful and loyal member of the band of space pirates led by Nebula. He served as her second in command and was present when Nebula commandeered Sanctuary 2. Titan Gator was blasted and defeated. Let's see. Don't even get a picture of the poor guy on the Marvel website. That's hilarious. All right, Gator's a possibility. So it sounds like Gator. Dynamite likes that. Cool. All right. So what do you guys think? Let's take the first question here. Do we move away from Terrax because in case they do use him? Because right now Terrax really feels like a good. Oh, okay. So sometimes he's green, sometimes he's brown. Okay. Interesting. All right. So, but what do you guys think? Yay or nay? Do we move away from Terrax or do we plow forward? That would be the first question. I want to hear what you guys think on that. And then we can figure out which direction to go next. I really got to see what would Gator's reason be. Anybody that we come up with, it has to be what their reason is. The Sun King is interesting because his reason could just be because he wants to see the sun explode. But he's human, so it doesn't make him much of a physical threat to go up against Jack of Hearts. I mean, could he handle deep space? I'd have to look more into that character. Might want to move away. Okay. If you keep Terrax, you need to formulate a backup plan. Exactly. Yeah. So, and you never know. That's the one problem is that by the time we finish this and do the actual reading, it'll probably be before we get a lot of information on the Fantastic Four. I mean, we're probably going to get some this summer. We'll probably get a cast, but they might not actually tell us who the villain is. You know, their big reveal at San Diego Con, if they do one, might just be the four main actors. You know, and that way they leave the surprise of who the bad guy is going to be and who's going to play it. You know, will it be Dr. Doom? Will they do the Mole Man? You know, and Danny DeVito is returning to comics as the Mole Man. That would really work. But yeah, so moving away from Terrax may be the right call, but making it where we could pop him back in. Well, that does give us kind of a vote for using one of the other heralds. So that's a possibility. Josh says, power imbalance is fun too, if written well. Make Jack unable to stop the much less powerful villain despite how powerful he is. Yeah, I could see that. Actually, I like that because I could see Jack wanting to take out the villain, but then realize he can't. So he goes to the next step, which is to overcharge the sun with his powers, forcing it to basically split into two red dwarf stars. That could be really interesting. Ooh, then I might want to make sure we include. There was at some point in Jack of Hearts run where he got kind of upgraded to where his brain worked at super speed. So we might want to make that just a side effect of the powers that he gets, so that he could do something like calculate on the fly in the middle of space, in the middle of a battle, calculate exactly how much energy and where he would need to apply on the sun to get it to split exactly right. Yeah, that'd be a fun little thing to add. Let's see. Lyle says maybe with the Watcher. Eddie says the goddess was a pretty destructive to the Marvel Universe as she attempted to purge all life in the known universe. For the story, she could start with Contraxia, Mom's planet, similar to Thanos, though. The Stranger does have a history with him. And the Stranger isn't a character we've really that they've done a lot with. He always struck me as somebody who should have been one of the elders of the universe, but I don't think he is. So let's see, what was the Stranger's gig again? I've always been fascinated by the character. The Stranger is a composite being possessing the combined strength and intellect of 1 billion of humanoids. Beings with once lived on the planet Gigantus, an ancient world in the Andromeda galaxy whose size approached the limit of which a planet can exist before fusioning into a sun. Gigantus, the home of a highly advanced and pacifist people, was the target of an imperialistic race of Eternals who decided to destroy Gigantus when it proved too big to conquer. Before their world destruction, however, a vast fleet of Gigantian escaped to retaliate against the attackers after destroying Eternus. Gigantus, in some yet unknown way, meddled entity, creating the Overmind. Wow, he is much more complicated than I thought. But there's something there. If he is, oh, wow. All right. If the Stranger is basically a collection of the thousands of people on a planet that died, what if he's trying to prevent the Contraxia from dying because the event would create, he's trying to manipulate everything to create a mate? That he wants to create, another version of him or another person of that level as he is. That could be a good motivation. Yeah, what if he's lonely? There's no other creature like him in the galaxy. So with the death of Contraxia, it would create another version like him. It doesn't have to be female, but it just someone else like him. I mean, the guy took the name The Stranger. Yeah, that has potential. Dynamite says they went into more in depth into his character in the new Silver Surfer Ghostlight run. I will have to check that out. Do some research. I do like the idea of the Stranger because he does have history with Jack of Hearts. They've battled before. I do like the idea that he is a conglomeration of a dying planet, and that if his planet died the same way or a similar way, when a sun explodes. Oh. Yeah. I think we're onto something here. All right. All right. So we changed the stranger to be our villain. Yeah. I'm liking this. Yeah, it definitely humanizes the villain and gives him a good motivation. Yeah, I think it's a much better motivation than so he sees a planet that's already going to die, and he's just trying to make sure that it does. So he's not necessarily trying to actively kill, he's just trying not to save. That's interesting. And then when he finds out that there's a possibility, you can bring in Jakar into, and JOH is caught in the middle. Jakar. Remind me who Jakar is. Let's see, Jakar Marvel. Jakar, okay. Interesting. Okay, that's something definitely worth looking up. That could also tie into an inclusion of Galactus's heralds and such. Oh, he impersonated the stranger. Okay. Yep, I think this is starting to work. I think a character with such a tortured background could be played really dark and twisted, given the show some horror elements, another dimensional being. All right. So, okay, let me work on this. I think the stranger may be the way to go. Again, he's got a history with Jack of Hearts, which is even better. I mean, Terrax did too, but it wasn't as strong as the one with the stranger. I do like the idea that, his motivation is, it's what Marvel likes, when the villain's motivation you can understand. He isn't actively going out trying to murder a planet. He just finds one that's already dying, gets so emotionally connected to the idea of having somebody like him to spend his life with. And then when it starts to slip away, he starts fighting. Oh, yeah. See, that's the kind of stuff you want. That's the kind of angst from a villain, more than just Terrax likes the dirt on the other planet. All right. Yep, like that a lot. All right, we're going to take our second break. I've got some key issues to talk about when we come back, but this is really good stuff, guys. So I will start working on this, and we'll do an update soon. So be right back.
Did you know that every experience show, including some exclusive content, streams on Twitch? Check it out, twitch.tv/the_EXP. Or just scan that QR code. What if Hans Gruber from Die Hard had to battle the Joker from Batman the Animated Series in a dance battle? Or who would win in a race between Baby from Baby Driver and Snidely Whiplash? If Austin Powers and Shrek found themselves in a hot dog eating contest, who would emerge victorious? These are the questions we talk about on Nerd Killer Warfare. Debate the most absurd questions you've ever heard in popular culture. Register now by scanning the QR code or visiting bit.ly/EXP casting. Go follow the experience on TikTok at @the_EXP1 or scan the QR code on the screen. Our TikTok is like everywhere else we are, except you only have to deal with us for a minute. Seems like a win-win to me.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dan Wickline Show here on The Experience. I've been reading about the Stranger during the break. I do like the fact that there appears to be a more recent costume design where he has actual pants and sleeves, which I think is a much better look than the outfit that he has in the early days in the comics, which to me means that we could actually get an older actor, a really good older actor, to play the part and just nail it. I mean, you don't have to go young. You could do somebody like the actor from Succession, Brian Cox. You could have Brian Cox play the role and just bring a lot of gravitas and stuff to it. Or, I mean, yeah, you could go with any older actor and really just nail it. So you don't have to go and get somebody who's a big, is going to work out like crazy, but they could still be an imposing threat. I mean, yeah, I love that idea. You guys are getting me excited about this project again. All right. Glenn Close. They've already used Glenn Close. Glenn Close was in Netflix. Oh my God. But what if Nova Prime was destroyed? The Nova Prime planet was destroyed. She was Nova Prime. What if all the life from Nova turned into the Stranger and they took the form of Nova Prime? Wow. Bring Glenn Close back. That would be, yeah. Okay, I got to put this aside. We got some comics to cover here. All right, these are books that came out this week. These are the books right now that people are saying these are the ones to watch. So let's go through them. Starting off with Vampirella versus Superpowers #1. This is the Sozo Miyake cover. There's some other really good covers too, but this starts a new series with, oddly enough, somebody named Dynamite in it. Not our Dynamite. And this is all set in the 1940s. I got to read this yesterday. It was actually a really good read. But this is out this week. Drexler #1 from Scout Comics, and this is described as the local sheriff of a town struggling with murder of 3 girls reaches out to her half-brother, the town outcast, and a monster in his own right, but he still represents her only hope to stop the massacres, but only if his own problems don't cause the entire strategy to implode. Not the best written synopsis. I could have toned that up a bit, but they're all already saying that the high end on this is going to be $6. So this one they expect to go up. We also have Street Fighter 6 #1. This is actually a 4-issue prequel series to the Street Fighter 6 video game. This one is also supposed to go up a little bit. They're saying $6 on the high end. Not enough color. Okay. After that, we have Supermassive. It wasn't that great. Okay. I enjoyed the Vampirella book. Supermassive, massive verse crossover. This is an Image crossover book. It's got Radiant Black, Rogue Sun, and the Deadly Lucky in it. And this is another one that's expected to go up a bit. So, Within Temptation, this is a book from the new company Opus. We're supposed to be getting their book soon to review. It hasn't happened yet. but this is number 1, just came out. It says, in the future, a battle rages between two species, an advanced humanoid species ruled by a techno-organic matriarch against a cruel race of artificially intelligent aliens. So that's a new sci-fi book if you're looking for one. City Boy. This is a new book from DC, and this also gives you the origin of City Boy. Now, I haven't heard much about City Boy, but a new number 1 from DC, so a new character is by Greg Pak, Min-Kyu Jung, and Sunny Cho. Might be worth picking up as an investment or to enjoy. Green Arrow. I'm always a fan of Green Arrow. I mean, that's my guy over at DC. Number 2, this is the first appearance of a new villain called Troublemaker. So this should be interesting. Oh, Dynamite says Drexler is not worth the price. Okay. Good to know. I haven't had a chance to read that one yet. Unstoppable Doom Patrol number 3. Now this one is a brand new metahuman unwittingly becomes a galactic fugitive. Robot Man and Negative Man embark on a cross-country road trip to save him. This is basically looks like Thelma and Louise done with Robot Man and Negative Man. I'm all for that one. So, all right, what else we got? Daredevil and Echo. This just come out. This is the first appearance of Daredevil and Echo's descendants from the 1800s. And we know that the Echo series is going to be dropping at the end of this year. Daredevil Born Again is coming up soon. So there's a good chance this is going to jump with people trying to find out who the heck is this Echo chick again? So, all right. Then Fury number 1. This is interesting because if you notice on the cover, we see different versions of Fury. 60 years of the world's most dangerous super spy. And we got him as Sergeant Fury. We got him as the original Nick Fury. We got him as the Samuel L. Jackson version. And then we got one with a cape. I'm not familiar with the one in the cape, but this is the first appearance of a female version of Scorpio. And Scorpio has always been the big bad for Fury back when he had his own series, and Jim Steranko was the artist on it. So, all right. Was that all our books? Okay. So there's some pretty interesting things there. I wish we got the Marvel books to read, to review, because I think those would be a lot of fun to look at. I don't have a really close local store, so I don't get over and get to pick up these books very often. Or when I do, it's usually a couple weeks later. So I'm curious about the Fury book. I'm definitely curious about Daredevil and Echo. I'm going to pick that one up either way. So, but those are the books that they expect are going to go up in value. Investment books. That's what we do. All right. So let's recap. Looks like we've got our new villain, the Stranger. I'll do some research into him. Original Fury, extra spicy. All the flavors, exactly. Yeah. Also, I think I need to do more with the Superman thing that we did yesterday, because it feels like I got a lot of data that came in on what people think are the best Superman stories. And there was a lot of them that got, over and over. It's like, oh yeah, All-Star Superman, Red Sun. And I kind of negated those out because they're alternate versions of Superman. Because what I was looking for specifically was in canon stories, things about, the Superman we know. And it's interesting that there really is different versions of even in canon, because anything pre-Crisis is kind of considered a different Superman now because they've changed him. So I kind of feel like I need to go through and really break down those and maybe do like a special, really looking at all the books people recommended. And I've been getting more suggestions too. So I may expand on that. And also next week, I saw Jim Valentino from Image posted what he thinks is the best 10-issue run for Fantastic Four. So we're going to take a look at that next week. We're going to look at those 10 issues and exactly what makes them great. So, and if Jim's right. And having known Jim for a while, he usually is right. So we'll see. JD is reminding us that there's no What's in the Box tonight, but there is Space Cadets, where they're going to talk about, they kind of get all over the place with their conversations. But one of the things they talk about tonight is the actor Doug Jones, who you may know from Hellboy as Abe Sapien, from Fantastic Four as Silver Surfer, from Pan's Labyrinth, from Hocus Pocus as Billy something or other. And then also he's in the new Star Trek series, Star Trek Discovery. So, and he was the original Mac the Knife, if you remember those McDonald's commercials. So they're talking about him. And then tonight on SketchUp, Mog and Mel welcome Alexa Lowe and Isaac Bell, who are working on a new Kickstarter called Shrine. And they've also done, in the past, they did one called Metal Shade. So those are the guests tonight. So you'll want to check that out. And that's it for me. I will be back next week. Like I said, we'll talk Fantastic Four. I'll see if I can put together some of this stuff for Jack of Hearts, maybe do more on Superman, and maybe another rewatch. So I will be back. Have a great weekend, and talk to you soon. Good night, everybody.
Do you remember what it was like when you were a little kid and you got a letter in the mail? Now imagine that letter was filled with information about your favorite shows, pop culture questions, links to things you're going to want to see later, and even sneak peeks at upcoming programming here on The Experience. That's what the EXP mailing list is. Every week, we send you sneak peeks, information, and all of the relevant links for all of the shows you want to see. Sign up now on our website or scan the QR code that's on your screen right now.